Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to be going over how matrices can be used to solve systems of equations. So we have a system here that you can see. The very first step actually deals with before the calculator. We want to first obviously make sure that our system is set up. It might be a word problem or something. We obviously want to make sure that we have written it correctly and that it's lined up. What do I mean when I say it's lined up? Notice how I have x corresponding to x in the second equation. My second variable is y, and that corresponds to y in the second equation. My equal signs, and then my numbers. If it's not lined up, when we go to type things in, obviously the order is going to be all scrambled, and that's going to lead to an incorrect solution, or maybe even no solution from our calculator. So it's important that we obviously set it up correctly and that it's lined up. Now this strategy, using matrices, is particularly useful for multiple choice questions, where maybe, hey, I don't really care how I'm showing my work, I just want to know the answer quickly. Or checking your answer for a written question. Maybe you've done elimination, you've done substitution, you've done some graphic approach, and you just want to check to see that your answer is correct. Also important to know. So we're going to jump into the calculator now. We're going to hit second, x to the negative first. The keystrokes are up here if you want to follow what buttons I'm hitting. We're going to scroll over to edit. And if we think about the dimensions of our system, it's 2 rows and 3 columns. And a matrix is basically just pure, kind of pulling out the pure numbers from the system. So my first equation is 1x, 1y. Notice there's no variables, no symbols. If there was a negative sign, obviously I would write -1. But other than that, it's just the pure number itself. Equals 110. For my second equation, also notice how I'm hitting enter to move from one box to the next. You don't have to hit over or anything like that. 4.25. and 411.5 and enter. Just double check that you typed it in correctly. Like anything on the calculator, you don't want to have a typo cost you a question. So now we're going to actually quit. This is an annoying step, but technically if you try to do what we're going to do next right now without quitting, it's going to be basically putting something in the matrix. So we want to quit this. We're going to go back in. And we're going to select the function that's going to solve this for us. We're going to scroll over to math. And I usually go up because it's so far down. I'm selecting option B, which is RREF, reduced row echelon form. It's basically solving this system for us. And what it's really doing is actually elimination, believe it or not. Obviously a lot faster than we can. We're going to go back in one more time. So after you create it, you actually have to go back in twice to select the matrix. Obviously, there's only one there, but we have to select matrix A. And now we're going to perform the function. So once it spits this back out to us, we see 1, 0, 32, 0, 1, 78. So great, what does this mean? Remember how we typed it in. And this goes back to why the order is so important. Our first number corresponded to x. So this is telling me that 1x and 0 y's are equal to 32. In other words, x equals 32. All right, my second line is telling me that 0 x's, and what was my second term? My y. 1y is equal to 78, or has a value of 78. So once you get this kind of solved system, make sure that you actually know what it's saying. Obviously, you might not be using x and y all the time. It might be a word problem where you're talking about adult and student tickets or different types of prices for something. Make sure that you know exactly what you typed in first and then what you typed in second. Okay? And like I said earlier, this is very important. It's a very, very useful trick if you know how to do it. It's actually not a topic you probably cover until, I want to say college level math classes when you actually get to matrices, maybe pre-calculus touches upon it a little bit, but very useful in algebra and other math classes because it does actually solve systems for you. But obviously you want to know how to do it the traditional way with elimination and substitution. This would just be useful for multiple choice or checking a written response answer. So hopefully you found this helpful. I'll try to post a list of going over the actual buttons or sequence of buttons to hit. But I found this, or I thought this video might be a little bit more useful. Sometimes just looking at buttons and calculator screen can be a little confusing. And hopefully you can apply this on our test on Friday. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.